They said it was impossible. They said,
you can't put together the most elite team of comic book reviewers on the planet and do, a podcast or something like that?
Despite all that, today we can proudly announce. Yeah, they were right. We couldn't do it. So instead, we brought you the most vile, ignorant, unprofessional group of comic book enthusiasts we could find. This is Panel to Panel, the Game Rage Magazine comic podcast.
Somber mood for the final episode of the House of X, Powers of X series here on Panel to Panel. My name's Josh. I'm here today with Adam.
Yes, hello. The somber, bittersweet end to... Well, it's only technically just the beginning of the Krakoan age, but for me, it's the ending because there's nothing else that happens after this.
Oh, man. But if you do want to see things that happen after this, you can go to GameRageMagazine.com where you can see the full menu of podcasts that we have available for your listening pleasure. If you just happen to want to be following us on Instagram or TikTok, you can go to @GameRageMagazine. If you're on Twitter/X, it's @GameRageMag if you're into that sort of thing. Adam's at All Gas No Trash Official on Instagram. You can follow him there. All right. Let's get down to the sad business. I'm very upset.
Yeah,
Very
well, it's
sad.
only,
there is a silver lining, but we'll get to that.
True.
We'll get to that later. So let me blow this up. Powers of X. And here we are, the opening cover. Moira McTaggart. Fucking cherry blossoms Krakoan cherry blossoms floating all around her, and just everyone's dead.
Yeah,
all of them.
Yeah, the ever optimistic outlook for the mutants. Everybody's just taking a nap and having a rest.
Yeah, they're like, hey, just relax, guy. Take a rest. You need a rest, guy.
Taking a nap after all the bullshit they've been through, especially fighting a mother mold, a giant ass mother mold head, and the Orcus. Army or special ops.
Yeah.
Pretty much anybody that was at the headquarters of Orcus, which was just outside the orbit of the sun.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just taking a nap.
Yeah, taking a nap, a fucking dirt nap, all right?
Yeah, who do we have? Just real quickly. So we got Apocalypse. There's I don't know. I think that's Emma Frost.
Yeah, that's like Emma Frost.
But there's a lot of blonde-headed chicks. I don't know if that's some of the Cuckoo sisters.
Probably.
Wolverine.
Yeah, Wolverine,
Sabretooth, who just got exiled, got that ass banned.
This guy.
That's Archangel.
Oh, okay.
That's
Mystique, yes. Cyclops, another blonde chick, maybe one of the Cuckoos, another blonde chick down here.
Fuck, I don't even know. Magic. It looks like Colossus. Yeah. The Rasputin.
Yeah, Rasputin. Is this that little fucking?
Is that Green Magneto?
That's this right here. Yeah. Oh
yeah. Okay. Yeah. It is some of the. It is some of the people from the future timeline.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I never paid attention to that. That's interesting.
Yeah,
that's future Magneto, huh?
Curious.
Yes.
Curious. And then who the fuck is this?
I have no idea who the fuck that is. Okay, that looks like Emma Frost mean coat.
Oh, this right here?
The one that the shaded, the one that's like kind of blending into the foreground.
Oh, this?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, that could be. All right. And then the opening quote, and now we build by
on the
X,
dead bodies
on the bodies of those who have came before us. Stacks on stacks on stacks on stacks. And here he goes. Finally, for the final time, X to the zeroth. X-Men Year One.
Yeah,
swagging it up, man.
I mean, Charles Xavier coming in with this fucking Gucci ass two-piece or three-piece suit, all swaggered up with a black tie.
I have to say, I love a good 3-piece suit, man. Like, I think that when we fucking crack off, we need to get like the good. That's going to be our splurge expense. We're gonna have custom tailored Armani or whatever the fucking highest suits are that are out there. We're gonna have like custom tailored ones.
Yeah, the Canadian tuxedo.
Oh yeah, and we're just gonna walk around with these suits just to nowhere, just because. It's going to be our business attire.
McDonald's.
Yep. Go to McDonald's and just order. Man, that's a great video series. Going to McDonald's and ordering off the dollar menu with fucking your $18,000 suit.
And then show up with nothing but hundreds. We're like, I don't know if I have change for this.
And they're like, and then they look at you and go, we don't accept hundreds here. You go, well, I guess I'm stealing this shit then. Damn. But anyways.
Yeah, it's a full splash page of this motherfucker walking through what appears to be some type of forest. And here we are again at the goddamn carnival for the umpteenth time, knowing that we're going to meet Moira McTaggart for the billionth fucking time.
I would like to go back and see now, but just curious to see if these are the same exact panels that they're just reusing. Like, why draw them again? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think it's something of a late R.B. Silva, who was the artist, the penciler for this Powers of X. I feel like it's a cop out to, well, maybe it was at the behest of Jonathan Hickman that said, since we're going to be revisiting some of these ideas like constantly, like, yeah, go ahead and copy and paste some of this bullshit so you could save yourself some time. It's effective, but it's also somewhat lazy.
It's also lazy and cheap, yeah. And then here he is, looking with this fucking weird Avatar Aang fucking look on his face. I don't know why he fucking looks like that. Like, I don't like it.
Oh, look. Moira McTaggart for the millionth time.
Oh, hey. Fucking. And this literally the same exact conversation that they had.
Yeah, it's almost
multiple
like
times. We're not even going to bother even talking about it or summarizing it. It's the same fucking conversation. And again, it's the same shit. It's the same conversation that they had about the fortune teller shit. We see the same thing with fucking the one dancing between two worlds, the tarot cards with the magician, the tower, which was like the Nimrod headquarters.
Nimrod the Lesser.
Yeah, and you got the devil, which is Cardinal fucking fuckboy over there. And then, she's just saying the same shit about everything.
It's not a dream.
Talking about a dream. It's real, bitch. And he's like, what? Do we know each other? And she's like, oh, yeah, bitch. Same thing. Same panels, exact same shit. Oh,
yeah.
Man.
It is.
First exact same shit. Okay, now he does the thing where he sees into her brain and he goes, oh, I get it now. And then it
how many pages did he waste of just this bullshit? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 fucking pages, man. Jesus.
Wasted on this. And really, I guess you could count this opening page.
Yeah.
Because that's 7. That's 7 pages of what? How many pages?
Before you actually get to something?
Yeah. We're just seeing shit that we've seen over again. I don't know. Artistic choice, I guess. Anyways, now they're at this thing called the Preserve, and you see some like elephants, and you see fucking they're in some kind of weird thing. You see those blue guys.
Oh, this asshole,
this dickhead with the librarian or whatever the fuck he's called.
Yeah,
and he's got outside of a little fucking, I don't know, like a gate of some kind. And he's just chilling around this forest and looking around, and he sighs, and then bam, he gets fucking attacked, and he's basically saying. In his, I think this is telepathically, right? That's what that little bracket thing means. It's like telepathically.
Yeah, I think so.
And he's just basically saying, like, hey, man, like, this shit is pointless. My brain is way more advanced than yours. I already knew exactly what you were doing before your brain even fucking finished sending the signal to your muscles to react of what you wanted to do. So he just says, like, this would be way faster if, do you know how much faster you'd have to be to actually get me? Like, impossible, essentially. Go eat your food, bitch. And so then he sends these people off.
Yeah, these. I guess we're to assume that there is a last bastion of mutants that exist in this futuristic timeline, but they're almost kept as like zoo animals in this preserve.
Yeah, and so the alien just says, "I mean you no harm," or whatever the fuck this is, this future person robot thing. And so then he just says, you know, they just want to be free. They don't want to be locked up in the zoo, right? Which is what this basically is. And so to summarize it, he's basically just saying, if you wanted to be free, or just wanting to be free, is equivalent in meaning to saying that someone is capable of observing how fake an environment is, right? And that we need to keep everyone enslaved. This is what we need to do. This is the way to go. And he's saying, you know, they don't want to be free. They don't know what free is. It's just their nature. And then fucking here goes Wolverine coming out of the garden with some fucking, I don't know, some kind of weird outfit on. And he just says that, like, they want to be free and they know what freedom is. I tell them all the time, bitch. I'm fucking telling them shit about this is what freedom is. And this is, you need to overthrow your masters, that kind of shit, right?
And he looks as young as he did when, fucking in his prime.
Oh,
dude.
yeah. Unaltered, like peak Wolverine.
Yeah.
And this is thousands of years into the future. And so then the librarian person tells him that he doesn't have any more time, and he says his full name.
He dresses him as a human, which is probably, I don't know if it's offensive to him, but I'm sure it might be because, well, they're mutants, so they're technically Homo superior.
Yeah, and he says it in straight English, like he says it. He doesn't just do it telepathically.
Right.
And so then Wolverine tells him, "Oh, that's a nice trick there, speaking English, buddy." And so he says that he's the librarian and dead languages fascinate him. So he downloaded it, hoping that they could have an honest conversation.
And I don't know if that was a little bit of a backhanded comment by him saying, "Oh, I love studying dead languages," implying that,
yeah, you're nothing.
Yeah, your time has passed. Like everything. Like,
your time's passed, old man.
Well, like, fuck, I don't know why I'm going to quote this stupid soap opera, but like fucking sands through an hourglass.
Yeah, that's true. That's very good. That's a very appropriate name.
What?
Like for a sands through an hourglass.
Yeah,
like,
sands through an hourglass. These are the days of our lives. I mean,
these
shit.
are the days of. So then Wolverine's just telling him, like, well, you know, what are you waiting for? Just get on with this. And the librarian says that he's waiting for someone, for her. And here we go, rolling up fucking Moira McTaggart.
For the umpteenth time,
For the-
whatever
yeah.
iteration she is at this point.
Yeah, who knows? Still alive. Says he speaks English. And then she says, well, that's a problem because you've been listening to us for a long time, just fucking eavesdropping. Great. And the librarian says, well, observation is my primary function, or the primary function of these habitats. And preservation is the excuse behind it, but it's all about spying on you motherfuckers. And basically, he says, what's the old ancient phrase? I wanted to see what makes you tick. Like he wanted to learn how they operate.
Right.
And so Wolverine's like, how's that working out for you? And the librarian just says, I haven't figured it out. Like I have no fucking idea. But we're getting close, but I still don't know. And so then the librarian says basically that you've done well for surviving. You have the same blood type, but a millennium of depending on one another to survive is impressive. And he says, and so we have this whole thing. He basically says that's all going to come to an end.
Yeah, it is interesting to note that the way that this human technological hybrid, whatever the fuck this librarian character is, he's looking at mutants the same way that the phalanx are looking at his species of humanity, or whatever the fuck it is.
Right, yeah.
So now we're at that point where
ascension.
Yeah.
Where the phalanx is going to absorb everything on this post-human society. And everything that they are is going to basically become a collective, one within this collective. And everything as separate sentient beings are over, and they're just going to be self-aware intelligences in the great hive mind of the phalanx. And then he says the phalanx will begin our journey to the nearest black hole, where the collective intellect will merge into becoming a dominion, which is, we went over that a couple episodes ago. They had the whole chart about the dominions and all that shit. And then basically saying that the dominion lives outside of space and time, and their post-human society is going to be in existence forever as part of the godhead of that.
But they're assimilated. They're no
Right.
longer. They're like one piece of a greater being or thing. So yeah, this is like divine. This is
yeah.
like celestial horror, dude.
This is, man. This is some crazy shit. And so Moira's like super surprised and is like, oh shit, the world's ending tomorrow. And the librarian says, yep, you got it, bitch. And Wolverine just is like, and we're all gonna die. And he says, almost everyone will die. The exception possibly is you. You, I have arranged to send off planet. And Moira asks, like, why? And essentially, he says that because of the observations, if she dies before the phalanx makes it to the black hole, then all that he knows will not become part of the Dominion. That's the one thing that he's observed. And when she annihilates the timeline, she'll go right back to where she started. And knowing what you... I guess you can only just read this, but he says, knowing what you know without us knowing anything. And he's like, but if you live... If you exceed your life past us becoming God, essentially, then everything beyond space and time we will know forever. And basically saying we wouldn't tolerate something like you to have any power over us, this great thing that we're going to become. And so then Wolverine's just like, well, what kind of doing? Get over here, pal. I'm going to fucking jack you up. And Moira stops him and just tells him to finish. Let him cook. All right, let's see what he's got to say.
Right.
And so he's the librarian's asking about it. Hey, this is a fair question. You know, why would I be conflicted? You know, it's the wisdom of it, right? It's becoming something that's an idea of existence. It's not material. It's the immaterial, I guess. It's an idea. It's kind of crazy if you think about it. Like, oh, you're gonna be absorbed into this fucking intelligence. Like, how? So then you die. Like, what the fuck does this even mean? And so basically, never doing anything, talking to people, going through the woods, like none of that. Never seeing any wonders with post-human eyes. Faced with the question, if I let you die in your next life, you can stop this from becoming part of the universal machine state that is the Dominions or whatever. I suspect this might be a fake existence. I don't know. No one knows. And this is saying, we don't know because you have all these fucking timelines. Like, who knows what the real one actually is? Mm-hmm. Like, this could all just be bullshit. We could be in one of the bullshit timelines, and none of this fucking matters. And he's like, well, if I send you away, I'll fucking find out right now. I'll find out what's going to happen. Which one is real or not? And so Moira's like, should I convince you? And he says, the librarian says, yep. And he starts asking her about, how would you prevent it? Like, everything that you've learned, how would you stop us from becoming this post-human society or whatever?
Yeah, that's a hell of a thing to deal with because this motherfucker is basically contemplating his own individuality because they're going to be mixing with the phalanx in short order. They're going to be... Their whole society is going to be annihilated. He's like,
yeah,
I kind of like being an individual.
Yeah.
And if you guys want to exist too, Moira is basically the key to find out, well, fuck it, if she stays alive, might have a chance of like preserving our own fucking society.
Yeah, true. So then Wolverine's like, oh yeah, let's go back, start the revolution I was talking about a little sooner. And put a stop to this, right away.
The fact that this dude, because you know how like it's kind of something, or at least it appears to be something of a collectivist society to begin with. This guy's actually showing signs of being something of an individual.
Yeah, and the librarian says that the scientific term is homo novissima, the end of the evolutionary line, the last man there will ever be, man.
That is crazy.
That is fucking crazy. And he goes on to say that the personal memories may differ, but historical records say you mutants never saw this shit. You never saw what was really going on. Like you couldn't fucking possibly wrap your head around it. And it's fucking sad. You thought you were you mutants thought you were evolutionary inevitability. Wrong.
They were stepping.
You were just a step in that process.
Yeah, and Wolverine's like probably come to terms with that, with him saying we were, and then Moira saying like, oh no, we are in the present, to say that they are going to be the. Well, I don't know if they're the final evolutionaries,
Yeah.
but probably the most dominant or prosperous one, or that's the hope. After
Yeah.
all this shit.
And so Wolverine, he says we were, she says we are, and he says, look around you, look at this fucking cage you're in. It's inevitable. That's what's inevitable.
You know what this feels like?
What?
This is like fucking Gurren Lagann type shit.
Yeah.
That there's a ceiling for everything, and then these motherfuckers keep breaking through.
Cracking through to like the next level or whatever.
Yeah.
And so he just says that mutants are an evolutionary response to the environment, naturally occurring, man. Like that's just you're just part of nature. And it's the next step of human evolution. But when humanity stops being beholden to the environment, like the environment doesn't matter, what happens to evolution then? And it's when basically we control those building blocks of biology and technology. Evolution cannot beat genetic engineering. Evolution can't stand a chance. Genetic engineering is superior essentially in every way.
Because it's
Targeted,
designed.
specific, yeah, it's designed.
Yeah.
And so the librarian says basically, what good was one mutant going to and adapting to its environment when we could make 10 Supermen?
Right.
Like that means nothing. Like we'll just make 10 super guys and you'll be fucked.
Yeah. And talking about, I mean, that's what Mr. Sinister was doing, was instead of having mutants being replicated to do one thing, or they only have one ability, they have shit stacked on top of each other through gene editing or whatever. And this guy is basically saying, oh, we'll get to that point where everybody will have like 10 abilities or some shit. And
yeah.
Anyways.
And he goes on to say about like, you guys just didn't fucking see the big picture. You thought it was the machines that were going to be the ones that defeat you. But no, we just needed that to buy time. Just to buy time to get to where we wanted to go. The Sentinels bought years. The Nimrods bought decades. And Moira was like, oh, fuck, I never saw that. Shit, I didn't see this. And the librarian says, and you never will, bitch. That's just the end of it. You can't recognize the real enemy. Like, if you don't recognize them, how can you win? How can you defeat them? And he's like, well, this is just probably the ending. This is just how it is for you. Sorry. Sucks to be you. Sucks to suck, Playboy. And he goes on to say that basically if there's no other real alternatives, then maybe this is what my fate is. Immortality, divinity, essentially becoming,
part of a god.
Part of a god.
And I mean, Xavier is playing that to the X-Men to some degree because he's able to, maybe in a poverty version, he's storing their memories and identity in these Shi'ar crystals and able to bring them back and replicate them like Nimrods or even Sentinels, but they're eventually going to be superseded by technology, whether it's the Nimrods or the Sentinels or even this post-human society. Their end is coming. So
And so then on the next page, good buddy Wolverine just fucking goes to fucking smash this dude into the tree with his fucking claws out. Flaws out, claws out, baby. Like it's happening. And he says, well, dear Lord, up in robot heaven, tell me, was that fast enough for you? Like, because he said earlier about, oh, you couldn't even imagine how fast you need to be to get me. And Wolverine's just like, cacao, gotcha, bitch. And Moira's like, fuck, man, we waited all this fucking time to find out why. And he's like, yep, and now we know. We got it. got him. So you gonna do something about it? And she's like, yep. And Moira's like, all right, like, you got to send me on my way. And now Wolverine's going to
for the umpteenth time, like, she has to die.
Yep.
I don't know if this is the most painful one, because the first one where she got set on fire alive, or she got burned alive, that shit was crazy.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And so she's like, well, here we go. Got to be on my way now. He tells her to close her eyes. She's like, nope. And they're going to stay. They're open and they're going to stay that way. Just be quick about it. And he says, don't worry, darling. This is what I do. Killing's my business, and business is good. And we get this full spread backdrop with the sun. Wolverine fucking stabbing her right through the fucking chest. And then it says in the little box, the little box about, and so ended the 6th life of Moira X.
Oh wow! Coincidentally, the sixth issue.
Yeah, and so then we get this this branching. What is this? Branching humanity, and it shows from this base point. Oh god damn it! I hate it when it does this. Oh fuck! There we go. And it shows the humans, or it's mutants and humans, Homo superior, mutantdom, the natural evolutionary successor to humanity, and then Homo sapiens, saying humanity will reach a natural evolutionary dead end within 2 to 4 generations. Though humans will still outnumber mutants for some time, the asymmetrical strength of the latter will result in a shift in dominance. See the 100 sheep, 10 wolves argument.
Oh, shit.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so again, referring to the 10 supermen.
Yeah.
That they'll be more powerful than 100 sheep.
Yeah, and then they branch off from this to go to Homo Novissimo, which is the post-humanity, is a manufactured branch of humanity not restricted by normal evolutionary constraints. The problem with a technology-based post-evolutionary state is that, or it's the inevitable but naturally occurring paradigm loop between organic and technological constructs. A machine leap makes a post-human leap possible, and a post-human leap makes a machine leap possible, on and on until one of these two eventually reaches an end state. Man, that is some fucking that's wordy. That's a lot of fucking things to unpack right there. But yeah, then we go down and, here we are, back to the fucking thing with Xavier talking to Moira telepathically.
Yeah.
There you go. And he goes, what? And then there's this red line that kicks in. Everything's got to turn dark and red. And he's like, like he's freaking out. And he has a little fucking, what is this? Like some kind of fire coming out of his head?
I don't know if it's actual fire, but it's like his telepathic ability being displayed visually. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then he's like, what the fuck was that? Like, and Moira says it's a bit much, but it cuts at everything you believe, even more so.
Yeah. So I'm assuming that that instance of that timeline has shifted things, and he's gotten like a little teaser where like, oh shit, all this shit's
it's gonna end in all these different ways. She's lived this life however many times, like
unless something changes,
right? And so he says, well, we lose. And she says, oh no, bitch, it's much worse than that. We always lose, no matter what. And so then he's trying to like make excuses right here. Oh, well, what if I was more selective, or, if I make a broader appeal to humans and like do that? And he's like, God, there's got to be a way. And then she just moves in and just fucking starts making out with him. Just full blown fucking tonsil hockey is being played right now. And she has clearly scored multiple goals. Probably even has a hat trick now at this point. And then she says, listen, I opened my mind so you know that I know you, Charles. Loved you, hated you, all the emotional complexities in between. Not once in all my lives have you changed. Like, he's the same fucking dude every single one. He's the constant, right? And then what's funny is she says to him, he says, thank you. And she says, that's not a compliment. You fucking suck. And she tells him, and I'm just going to read it because I think it's powerful what she says, right? She says, you're a good man who believes in the goodness of others, and it breaks my heart that I have to break that part of you. But I will break it because that's what has to happen now. I know you will fight me, just like your shade, Eric, will fight me. But this time, I mean for all of us to be together. all of us. You've been dreaming the wrong dream, Charles. And it's long past time that you wake up. And it shows them walking off like into a sunset at the fucking carnival here. And so now we got this journal of Moira's. And she's got like, I think there's a bunch of pages of this shit. Mm-hmm. But basically she goes on to talk about her relationship with Charles and like the sadness that she has in this first one about how like, man, he wants to love these fucking people. And it's so shameful. Like that he just wants to love humans so much. Like she's like basically like, what a fucking traitor.
Where he wants to coexist with them.
Right.
But the sentiment is not the same with humans.
Yeah, and then she just basically ends it with he will learn. He's gonna learn.
Yeah.
You're gonna learn, boy. And then we have a like what the fuck? Why? Why did we need to have a redacted one here? I don't know. I mean, I get it for dramatic effect probably, but
couldn't tell you.
I don't know. So then basically she says like now she has a choice to make. She's been lying to herself. What she is and isn't capable of. And she thought she could manipulate everybody into doing her bidding. And it seems as though she's not able to do that without any repercussions to herself. So she says that, you know, her and Charles are, you know, have become romantic. She's breaking him. And if she breaks him, I don't know, like, how is he going to be the man that he needs to be in the coming days? And her concern or her fear is that fracturing his psyche would eventually unleash something unexpected on the world. Like,
which has already happened because he turned into Onslaught. In the past before. Like, if he in those scenarios where his psyche is broken, like, it turns out for the worse. Like, yeah.
So then basically she's talking about having this breakthrough with them. He stopped trying to fight her on what humanity is and tapped into the potential windfall of knowledge that she has regarding the mutants. And he had a marvelous idea regarding the potential tandem of mutants and what they could accomplish if they worked in harmony.
As referring to the 5 that are capable of resurrecting the all the mutants if they die.
Yeah, and she said basically the only thing that they needed was a mutant with the ability to tweak primal matter or give reality as we know it a push. Which was the one that, like, that's once they got the little egg thing in there, like, they were the one that, like, pushed it to go. And so basically she talks in this next one about recruiting Magneto and essentially Magneto's an asshole. Loyalty has to constantly be earned. He has no deviation of intent or wavering of belief. Like he is a through and through, he's devoted to the cause, and that's it. And if you're anything but down 100%, get fucked. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't want it. He doesn't want to be involved. And then she's talking about Apocalypse. She's like, man, I already know about Apocalypse. Like I was on his team at one point. You know, it was her and him trying to, like, you know, kill everybody. So she basically says that, okay, he made himself known, so now I gotta fucking wait until later. This isn't gonna be possible to recruit him now. He sees everything as unfit, basically, that nothing's fit to survive, that he is the head, and she's like, well, what must be done now is the avoidance of an apocalypse event and the prevention of certain Omega level mutants falling under his sway.
Yeah, because then they'll wipe out the Earth.
Yeah, they'll just kill everybody, and then, well, that's just a moot point then at that point.
Yeah, so there's a lot of fucking eggs to juggle with this bullshit.
Oh yeah, and there's another redacted one, and then we get entry number 48, which is talking about underestimating Xavier's what she refers to as an infatuation with the possibilities of what can be accomplished with mutant genetic material. Without her knowing and against what she had asked, Charles and Magneto went to Bar Sinister and recruited Sinister to the cause, which, there they go. And then she's like, what the fuck are these assholes thinking? This is the most ridiculous shit I've ever heard. And he basically produced the first Chimera decades early, and it is him. It's him. It's Sinister himself. And so now entrance to, oh God, we lost Magneto. I hoped I'd given him the opportunity to help make him a better man. Instead, all we have made is an enemy. I am just as bad as they are, if not worse. And then she goes back to Xavier, and she basically, this is the last entry, and she just says that she's decided to remove herself from the world. She's become too active in this and put both herself and the plan at risk. Charles will use the Shi'ar Golem to test the early theories on what can be accomplished with adequate and properly prepared genetic material to back up a copy from Cerebro. We will fake my death using a replica, and I will return to the shadows where I belong.
Yeah, and it looks like it's noted on the page that this is Life 10.
Yeah,
That the entries were based on her Life 10, that continuity.
yeah. And so then we get into this no space back on Krakoa again, and here's her, and then Charles and fucking Magneto and Charles walk in, and Magneto's like, oh, hey, we got you some teamwork. Here you go. And she basically says there's two ways to get in and out of my place or my home. One of them is the secret chamber in the House of X, and the other leads to one of mankind's greatest culinary cities. So I don't need you to bring me tea. Like, I can just get it at any fucking time. I got other means and greater concerns. And he's like, only snakes refuse the common kindness of others. They say it comes from assuming there's always another shoe to drop. And so then she tells him, like, oh, so it's tea and other things. Can I assume we have a government now? And so she has removed herself essentially from the process of all this by being in the no-no space, essentially. And Charles is like, yep, everything's going swimmingly according to plan.
Yeah, okay, so I forget 10th. I think this 10th life is her last life. So now that all this shit has happened, not only her stuff that's happened, but everything that's happened leading up to this point, she's fucking removed herself.
Yeah.
Shit, I forgot about this. Well, anyways.
Yeah, and so then, because again, that's also something that they never, tried, right? She maybe, nothing that they did worked ever to have them win. So, now maybe that's the only thing they haven't actually tried is if she actually removes herself from the equation completely. And so... basically, she's very skeptical of Emma Frost, saying she's up to something, and Xavier or Magneto, actually, or is it Magneto the one? Yeah, Magneto tells her listen, we're all up to something, all right. There's no pure intentions here. Everybody's got some fucking ulterior motives, right?
And it's funny that he's got this. He's manipulating these orbs that he eventually turns into cups, right? So broader plans being these weird, amorphic or yes, they're spheres, right? But they don't actually have a shape. So broader plans being visually shown through these orbs,
and then turned into something,
when they're talking about these three seats that Magneto, Charles, and Apocalypse occupy within the council, probably to describe that they've shaped their own government, but as he discussed previously, everybody's in it for their own reasons, and everybody's forming their own, I guess, their own ambitions or their own things about what they want this thing to be.
Yeah, and so she's asking about who else got named to the council, and, Magneto's just saying it all went basically according to plan. Apocalypse at the table with us, Jean Grey, Storm, and Nightcrawler are at the summer table. They're just explaining who's at what fucking table, essentially. And they're saying that the winter table is where they put all the problem mutants, which is they put Sinister there.
And spring was the Hellfire Gala, or the Hellfire Club, which is Sebastian Shaw, Emma Frost, and whoever their third ally that hasn't been named.
Yeah, exactly. So then he's saying Mystique wouldn't agree to join without certain guarantees, and basically she's like, well, what did you have to do? And he's like, oh, he had to bring back Destiny.
And this is the woman that foretold literally everything that would happen.
Yep.
And she's like, don't fucking do that.
Yeah, don't do it. And he's like, oh, don't worry, we're well aware. And she said there can be no precogs on Krakoa. We'll not tolerate mutants who can see the future. Man, that's crazy. And they're like, yeah, we got it. And she's like, you don't get it, man. She has ways of seeing me, and I am a weakness because my death ends all of this. And he's like, yes, we know, we're aware. And she's like, basically saying, I don't think you know. Like, I don't think you fucking get it. And Charles goes back to just like, listen, we know. Like, we're gonna put this off as long as we can, right? We're gonna set this aside. Tomorrow, not today. All the mutant leaders say, whatever. We'll put all of them off. Yes, in time they'll deserve to know the truth. But, we're gonna put this shit off for now.
Yeah, it's like they're building their whole fucking nation on a terrible lie because they have to in order to make this thing work. They can't know the future because if they do, fucking Moira dies. The nation of Krakoa doesn't fucking exist because none of the other cases work. Precognition or mutants with precognitive abilities ruin the whole fucking thing.
True. Yeah, they fuck it all up. And so she says, well, what you really wanted to know that we always lose. And this is where Charles and Magneto are both saying this kind of different lines, but together-ish. And he says, this time it's going to be different. And then Magneto says, we're different, we're different than we were. And they're saying basically that's all because of you, because you have told us everything that happens and what we need to do.
Referring to Moira.
Yeah, referring to Moira. And then we get back to the celebration of Krakoa.
Which is probably like a carbon copy of the exact same shit, like the exact same shit that was drawn in House of S.
They just copied and pasted it, I'm sure. And so he says, there's no denying what you've done, Moira. You shaped us into this. And these are the exact same panels that we just saw.
Yeah.
You made us into it. We're perfect tools for an imperfect age. You should celebrate what you've done. That the same exact Ewok fucking Death Star thing. For you have done it well. But now it is time for you to step aside. And there's Apocalypse sitting there by himself. And let us do the good work for which we were created. And there's Apocalypse just chilling. And then here's this same fucking thing from the previous issue and saying, just look at what we've made. Again, to reiterate it. But the conversation continues now. And the thought lingers, is it enough? And Charles is telling him, like, it's just the beginning. And we hope it's enough. And Magneto's like, well, what if it isn't? And he says, oh, then we got to do more. Doesn't matter what it costs or what it takes. We just live and die with this, right? The two of us. And then Magneto just says, then I'll die for it. And if I fall, then you will raise me up. I will show this world what a real mutant is. And then Charles is like kind of laughing and he just says, yeah, well, you keep saying that, you're sure going to get some kind of a fucking response. And Magneto just says he's not ashamed of what he is. And bring it on, bitch. Let him try to stop us. And we go back to the forest, and everybody's still celebrating around with their they have little Ewok huts right here. This is the same shit that was on the Ewok. This was inspired by Return of the Jedi, I guarantee it.
Yeah.
And so then Xavier tells Magneto, yes, let him try and stop you. Let them try.
And that was from interesting to have the ending panels. The ending of House of X showing them in a position where they're looking upwards and onwards, or standing from a elevated position, right? And now they're looking upwards to the good graces of the mutant species as they are now flourishing in this nation of Krakoa. So is this the end of it?
Yeah, this is it. And then we get to the last quote, "I am not ashamed of what I am" by Magneto.
I'm sure that'll resonate with a lot of different people that are humans, whether they're fucking LGBT plus, minority of some sort, religious or not religious, racial, cultural. Man, the X-Men are literally like self-insert your minority group here, and you are it.
True story. So yeah, so this was a good read. What are we giving these scores when we're done with them, or like what are we fucking doing?
Yeah, if you want to, I mean, shit. I don't know what good is going to do. I mean, I already.
It's not going to do any fucking good, but
I mean, I think. I mean, there's been a lot of starts to the X-Men itself, but this one I felt like it was the first real shot that they had at making themselves progress as a collective society, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
That they were trying to institute a culture and a community and even a language, and then also even trying to create a nation state. That shit was wild. Like the whole I mean, reading all this back then was crazy because the mutant never fucking get their day ever. So the fact that they even did that in the first 12 issues, or the first arc of the Krakoan age, I was like, oh man, I was like completely at a loss of words at the fucking mutants. The mutants got their day. And not only that, you had all these different mutants, both evil, I guess, depending on what your perspective is. Let's just say contrasting sides.
yeah.
Whether that's Mr. Sinister or Exodus or Sebastian Shaw, Emma Frost, the fact that they were all able to get on the same page, I mean, it just seems like such a wild thing. And yeah, it's just good shit, dude. It was awesome.
Good shit. That was a good read, man. I loved it. It was very good. This is the canon of X-Men that I want. Let's keep this and just keep it rolling. This is all. Nothing else bad happens to him. It's all good.
Even though it ends on something of a somber note, that Moira's like she's exiling herself in the hopes that this timeline is the one where they get it right. And yeah, I mean, she doesn't even get a seat at the council. Thought it was the appropriate way to go. And well, knowing what I know about what the future holds for the Krakoan age, man, the shit sucks.
Well, that's crazy. Anyways, all right. So next up, our next read for the next week, we're gonna do 1 and 1, right? We're gonna start the Immortal Hulk, and then Daredevil.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be fucking pretty interesting. I'm very excited for Immortal Hulk, but I don't know a lot about Daredevil.
Neither do I. I don't know jack shit. I will say the only reason that I want to read it is because the artist, his name's Marco Cicchetto.
Yeah.
And he's drawing the current Ultimate Spider-Man book. But his shit's banging, dude. Like his art is amazing.
Yeah, all right. I'm looking forward to it.
But also Joe Bennett for Immortal Hulk, like his stuff it's like body horror. It's weird shit, dude.
It's gonna be cool. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, it's like existential horror, dude.
Yeah. Oh man. This is gonna be good. So looking forward to that. So stay tuned for that. And that's pretty much it, I guess. You got anything else to add?
No, I mean, once again, just revisiting the Dawn of X, the beginning of it with these 2 miniseries, man. It's just great shit. I mean, my favorite parts were, the deception of this X-Men team being put together with like Nightcrawler, Wolverine, Cyclops, Jean Grey, them being set on this suicide mission so that they could even have this fucking nation state.
Yeah.
That was like one of the cooler moments. And also just like all the mutants that we've known in the past, like just the history of the X-Men put into these 12 issues is crazy. And like being respectful of each character themselves and finding a role for them each to be serving a greater purpose for this new country or whatever, or culture, or even race of people.
Yeah.
It's just so crazy to see all of it work together. The history drops, like the certain bits of history that were highlighted to just add on to the world building. The journal entries are really great for all the lore, as far as like what you needed to catch up on from like the X-Men in the past, like some of the history of the X-Men in the past, but also like all the stuff that's happening currently. There was a lot of things to get to, but it never felt like too much. It was always like, oh, I want to learn more, and these things like supplemented all the stuff that was already happening. But this is like, to me, like one of the greatest things that happened to the X-Men.
Yeah, this was a good one. And so, anyways, well, like I said, stay tuned for the other excellent episodes we have planned coming up. And if you want to hear our full menu of podcasts, you can go to GameRageMagazine.com, at Game Rage Magazine on Instagram and TikTok, at Game Rage Mag on Twitter/X, Adams at All Gas No Trash Official on Instagram. And stay tuned for the next couple episodes. And I am sad that this is over because this was a good series. We got, 12? We did 12 episodes for this. It was over 6 weeks ish.
I think so, yeah.
We did 2 a week. So yeah, man. These next ones are kind of going to be longer ones, right?
Yeah, this is going to go on for a minute.
Right. So we may sprinkle in like a short, like I do want to do Shirtless Bear Fighter, like because that was a short one, right?
Yeah, it was.
So I do kind of want to do Shirtless. So maybe we'll sprinkle those in there as well, just to keep it like we'll sprinkle in some short ones. Yeah, just to change it up, like just do some short ones.
You want to? I think this thing actually ended. This one's horror related, but there's this. It's kind of like Tales from the Crypt.
Okay,
but it was an Image comic called Ice Cream Man. So
sounds interesting.
This narrator character is like this weird ice cream man. He's kind of like this, or at least from what I remember, these kids go to this ice cream man. He's like telling these stories.
Yeah.
These horror stories. I don't know if they were real or not, but it's like a Tales from the Crypt scenario that this guy is telling them
nice
children about these fucking scary stories and shit. But if you want to break it up with some of that, because I never actually read that.
Yeah.
But it's also like I think each issue could be its own standalone thing. So we get a little bit of story, some stories within one issue, but also there's an overarching issue with the Ice Cream Man himself.
Yeah, and then as another break up one, I guess to break things up, there's I have it, and I don't remember. I don't think I ever actually read it, but it's because it's Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. It was like the Wild Ones or whatever. It was like a short series that they made that was a more adult themed version of the kids show or whatever. It was like a tie-in thing, but it was for like adults. And so I don't know if it's any good. Because I love that Cadillacs and Dinosaurs shit when I was a kid. So like it popped up on my eBay page one day and I'm like, oh fuck, I can get the whole series for like $8. Like, yeah, fuck yeah, give me that. And
how long is it?
I think it's 3 issues, like, or something like that. Like it's not long at all. It's like 3 or 5 issues. I don't remember what the number is, but I have all of them, so we can we could read those too, and then just see what that goes. If we can't find them on, because I don't know if that one's going to be online to like read, because that's kind of an obscure one, but who the fuck knows.
Okay.
So anyways, all right, cool. Well, that'll do it for us. So thank you guys for listening, and we will catch you on the next one.
That was Panel to Panel, the Game Rage Magazine comic book podcast. Thanks for listening. If you want to know more and follow along, go to Instagram and TikTok. Follow at Game Rage Magazine. If you want to follow on Twitter/X at Game Rage Mag. Tune in next time.